the Conservation Commission meeting for the town of Franklin. So we'll go to our public hearings. The first public hearing we had on the roster was 1 Paddock Lane.
Roll call.
Roll call, thank you.
Okay. Richard Johnson.
Mark LePage,
Michael Ryan?
Roger Trahan.
Nicole Sharamonte.
Louis?
Louis Puga.
All right. Thanks for the reminder, guys. That's good. All right. So now we're on to the public hearings. 1 Paddock Lane, we had
Chair
a,
LePage, sorry if I could interrupt. If I just want to say, like, participants may notice that we're now in a webinar feature, so present people who wish to weigh in will, if we could ask, since you won't be able to speak without us granting you access, if you would use the raise hand feature to indicate you want to speak or you're presenting on the project.
okay.
That would be how this meeting will proceed.
So need to raise a hand. We did change that format. All right, good. Thank you, Tyler. So 1 Paddock Lane, we had requested, had a request for a continuance. I'm assuming we don't have anybody here from Paddock Lane. All right. With that, Richard, you want to give me a motion to continue 1 Paddock Lane to August 21st at 7:01?
I'll give you a motion to continue the NOI for 1 Paddock Lane to 7:01 PM on August 21st.
Second?
Vote to continue.
Continue?
Continue?
Continue.
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 All right, continued. Next on the agenda was 100 102 Panther Way. We had also received a request for a continuance, so just ensuring we don't have anybody here from 100 102 Panther Way. No raised hands, Tyler? All right. So with that, Michael, you want to give us a motion to continue that to 7:02 on August 21st?
Give you a motion to continue the NOI for 100 102 Panther Way to 21 August at 7:02.
Second.
All right.
Vote to continue.
Continue?
Continue?
Continue.
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 All right, motion's continued. All right, the next public hearing we have is an NOI for 444 East Central Street. Do see we have a hand up from Chris Frateroli. Assume you guys are here, Chris, so, all right.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, is this new? I don't get video?
Hold on, I can make you panelists for the presentation. Yeah, it's a webinar now for going forward.
So can you do video or no?
I'm making a panelist, so he'll be on the panel shortly and should be able to.
All right, there he is. How you doing, Chris?
Panelist now.
All right,
Well, good evening, folks. For the record, Chris Frateroli, wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. I believe I'm joined by AJ Alvizos from the applicant in the audience, but I know he's under the weather, so we may or may not hear from him tonight. Since the last time we spoke, we did prepare a letter responding to the comments in Beta's latest letter. We prepared a bunch of site plan revisions and other revisions and responses to go along with that. At the last hearing, as you'll recall, we did discuss a handful of what we anticipate to be the more significant topics of discussion for this project. So we figured that having kind of already spoken about some of those, and I think the majority of Beta's comments are going to be sufficiently addressed or very nearly sufficiently addressed with this latest round of revisions. I'm not sure that it makes sense to go line by line, but obviously we would defer to the commission on how you wanted to go through our latest submittal here. We can go line by line if you'd like, or I can just kind of answer any questions that may be on the top of people's minds.
so I think we've got some questions that we could start with, and then we could go from there. You know, Louis, I don't, if that works, Chris. Louis, do you want to start? I know you had a couple questions. I did as well, and then we check the rest of the commission.
Yeah, sure thing. Like I said, I went through the, I took a stab at the, the responses from Beta and Goddard. So, and really just, I'm sure, just kind of reviewed it, just touching up like the things that kind of stood out from the report. It's gonna, of course, there's a lot of comments, but I just wanted to I guess, Mark, did you want to, I mean, as far as like, all the comments that I had here, did you,
Well,
did you want to cover
two,
all of them or just
So
kind of like the
two-
ones that I?
two that I think would, maybe we start with. Chris, we did see some information, and Louis, I don't know if you have that handy, the FEMA flood maps for the site have been updated, Chris?
Okay, that is certainly news. That's not something we've had the opportunity to review at this point, but
Right.
we most certainly will. We'll take a look at that.
Yeah, so that was, what, I mean, timing is downright bizarre, honestly.
Right.
But they, Louis had checked that, and so there is an update, so I think it'd be useful to take a look at that.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
Okay,
Yeah, so, yeah, that's, actually Roger had mentioned it in the last meeting, but it's basically pulling up the FEMA firm map. It looks like it was updated, I want to say, was it, like, last month?
yeah,
But when I was comparing it with when I was going through the review back at the, on the 31st, and I was just kind of seeing where this, just kind of compare the map and see if there was any additional information. It looked like it had been updated. I can provide you a copy with that, just to see if, if that checks out. But really what I was finding is, or at least the update that I have seen, is that the Zone X doesn't have that designation anymore. So it's basically Zone A all the way through. Nothing that shows like a gap as far as like the flood areas. So that's something that if you can take a look at. I also wanted to see if Beta, how does that change things with respect to the map and everything else that had been reviewed. Because it's new information, and we definitely want to be working with the latest and greatest. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize that I'm not prepared to speak on that more directly tonight, but we will certainly be taking a look at that and seeing what we need to do and can do with that.
yeah,
Okay.
figured we want to heads up on that. The other question I had, and just a question, how married are you guys to the dock? Definitely some concerns there. The pilings are in the wetlands itself. I don't know if that would, more of an ornamental feature, or if that's something that's really important to the project. Just seems like some challenges around that. Certainly if that's what we want to propose, we'll consider it. But that just might be something to look at there as well.
Yeah, as far as the dock, I know the team is pretty excited about being able to offer that as
Okay.
an amenity in the project. I think that we are, so I'm sure the commission is familiar to some extent with limited projects. This is eligible to be treated as a limited project. And there are, a few criteria that we need to hit, but the gist of a limited project is that the Wetlands Protection Act says, basically, we understand there are certain types of projects that frequently cannot meet the full performance standards for BBW or bank or whatever it may be. So there's a subset of projects that are essentially allowed without full compliance with the performance standards, and this dock would be one of them. So that was something that Beta had mentioned in their letter, and I think that that's the route we're looking to take here. We are pretty excited to be able to include it, but if that turns out to really be a stumbling block here, we will take a second look.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just something that was of a concern there, so I thought we'd bring that up. Those were I guess the only other thing is again, and this speaks to the updated FEMA information too, but, the commentary and the concerns on the flooding, right? And I know we've talked a lot about evaluating that floodplain. It looks like it's going to need, potentially relook at that, but, a lot of resident concern. I know we've got the previous property owner, Stobart's, feeling there's not been flooding. So, you just want to make sure we're doing the due diligence on that, and just calling that out as a, still a real significant concern for the commission here, at least from my perspective. So the more detail we can get around that, so at any rate, those were the three things I would say that really jumped off to me. I mean, there's a lot of other information, as you said, we'll be, going back and responding to this line by line. But those were the biggies that I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, we're aware of the floodplain issue broadly, and it's certainly a topic of conversation among our team. The map update is news to us, so we'll be taking a look at that.
Okay. Any questions from any of the other?
Not at this time, no.
I haven't had a chance to look at the
Okay,
responses here.
okay. Louis, anything else on your end?
I mean, I guess, are we, as far as like, anything that we're looking for the next upcoming meeting was, whether it be a Beta or a Goddard, what do you, basically I'm just looking to see what, is pending that we need to, also be, on the lookout for.
Yeah,
So
go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, so I think at this point we're pretty much looking for the next round of beta comments.
Right.
If there's any ETA on that, we'd love to be kept apprised of that. It helps us be efficient and plan. But beyond that, I think there's not a whole lot to update at this point. We'll certainly be looking at a couple of these topics, but on a project of this scale, it really makes sense to do revisions all in one fell swoop. So I think we'd like to kind of keep the number of revisions on the lower end.
I did have one comment, or at least a question. If, has anybody, like the town engineer, reviewed any of the stormwater design, the comments for, at least for that section there, to see if it, if it's, anything stood out or needs to be commented or addressed?
I'm not sure if the town engineer has reviewed the stormwater comments specifically. I'm sure that, Beta's review is incredibly thorough. I don't think we'd be opposed to sharing these, but I think the idea was that we would keep this kind of streamlined and go through Beta on this.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if it was shared or if we were waiting on, some other departments were looking at this, besides us, because it's, but I didn't know if there was a mention.
I think
Perhaps
that
being reviewed.
Yeah, I think ZBA had kind of deferred to you folks as far as stormwater. So at this point, I think stormwater is firmly in your jurisdiction.
Yeah, Beta's looking at that. I talked to him this afternoon, so yes, correct.
Does that include design aspects of it as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There were 60 some odd stormwater questions from very basic things like the soil characterizations that were on site to things regarding how stormwater infrastructure was laid out and prepared and shown on plans on the site. So I think that's a pretty all-encompassing review from Beta.
All right, copy. Thanks.
I had a couple email questions from a resident, Chris, and then we can open it up to any other resident questions. One question was, what is the present impervious percentage and the post-construction impervious percentage?
I don't have that number offhand. I'm sure that we can dig that out of the 300 and some odd page
Right.
drainage report somewhere.
Okay.
But I don't have that number in front of me right now.
Okay, yeah, I figured that was something we could look up. And, and I didn't get a chance to check this. The stormwater drainage designs, they have an analysis in there for 50, 75, 100-year storm events.
That sounds right, yes. And the HydroCAD is kind of a foreign language to most of us, but that sounds right. I know that they do model storms up to the 100-year storm event.
Okay. All right, that was a couple questions from residents. With that, we'll start in chambers. Anybody in chambers? Looks like if you could give us your address and name and address for the record there.
Hi, I'm Richard Stratt from 10 Hayden Lane in the Cooks Farm area. I'd like to revisit one of the stormwater questions that I'd actually asked about at a previous commission meeting. So, just to set the stage, the people in Cooks Farm who live downstream from this project are at imminent risk of potential flooding if there is a flooding event. And just to remind people, the commission of the geography, the area for the project is in gray here. The area in Cooks Farm down here is below a choke point that would actually become impassable if that ever flooded. And flooding would constitute just being another 4 feet increase in the water level or so, depending on the time of year. So, I had a chance, not being a technical expert, but I had a chance to look over the revisions or the responses to the beta report. And as far as I understand it, the responses are that, there is going to be some wetland covered up, especially isolated wetland covered up, and some extra wetland provided in lieu of that wetland. But what I didn't see in the report, and maybe, someone could help me understand this, is what's actually going to happen to the excess runoff from the impervious area. My understanding from the original plan is that excess is going to be dumped into Uncas Brook and then, just to simply flow downstream. But I haven't seen any analysis of what's going to happen to the likely water levels in Uncas Brook in a 100-year event. I've seen the analysis in the project area itself. What happens to the levels in Uncas Brook? And so the comments to the sovereignty, notwithstanding, that has come close to flooding within living memory. And so, the fact that with the extra impervious area, it may or may not flood is of great concern to the residents. And I really would like to know to what extent they really understand the extent to which this is at greater danger of flooding because of this project, because of the extra runoff from the impervious area.
So the question, and this would be for you, Chris, I just want to make sure I understand it, is with increased impervious area, you're feeling there's going to be additional runoff caused by that, and how is that additional runoff going to be managed? Is that? Yeah,
in fact, my understanding, if I read the things correctly, is that is the plan, is that excess stormwater, it instantaneously rises too quickly, will be dumped into Uncas Brook. And so that, of course, will raise the level of Uncas Brook. Okay. And so in such an event, what is likely to happen in a 100-year storm?
Okay. So Chris, you want to field that?
Yeah, absolutely. This may be aided if I can share my screen and we can look at some plans for a quick second. But as we're getting that going, the general standard that we're held to for stormwater management it is truthfully quite strict. So the post-development conditions cannot send any increase in runoff leaving the project area. So at the end of the day here, we have, let's see, it's a little bit of a scroll down here, but you will see that, find the right sheet, sorry. So this is obviously just the north half of the site, but all impervious areas, whether it's roof or pavement or whatever it may be, is collected by a variety of means. We have roof drain headers that this one in particular, if we're looking at this here, discharges to this subsurface infiltration system. So we have, 192 storm tech chambers just in this array right here. And there's a handful of those scattered throughout the site. We have more under the parking lot up here, more under the parking lot over here. And components of this stormwater management system serve to not allow any additional runoff from the site. They serve to slow down the release of runoff. They serve to provide treatment of any, sediment or oil and grease or things like that that may get picked up in that runoff. And ultimately, you are correct. They do discharge to the brook, but these things will discharge slowly. That is kind of the key here, is that these stormwater systems discharge slowly. So if you have, 100-year storm, might rain for several hours, this will discharge over the course of 24 or 48 hours following that rain event. So really the idea is to capture any runoff generated from an impervious surface, treat it for anything that it may have picked up along the way, and then slowly release it over the coming hours and days. I'm sure that I'm not giving this a perfect explanation, as I am not an engineer and did not design this stormwater system. But generally speaking, that's what we're held to. The stormwater standards set forth by Mass DEP at the state level are quite clear, they're quite strict, and our intention is to comply with them 100%.
May I ask a quick follow-up?
Sure.
The issue of being slowly is a quantitative question. And so the question is, eventually the water will rise and then it will come, at some point it will subside. And the quantitative question is, how high will it rise, right? And so there's a certain number of feet elevation that particular street is, and it's only about 4 feet above the current water level. In a 100-year storm, some of the HydroCAD calculations that I thought as an amateur I was reading seemed to suggest that could rise above that. Is that not correct?
I am not 100% qualified to speak on the HydroCAD calculations, as I don't believe any of us here are tonight probably, but broadly speaking, there will be less runoff from this site as opposed to existing conditions, and it will be released more slowly. So I don't believe that is the case.
Chris, just thinking this through, would it make sense at a future meeting to have someone from your team come in and, there's a limit to the amount of detail I think we'd all be able to absorb, but to give us a more in-depth overview of the stormwater management?
I'm sorry, if I
Go ahead,
could
AJ.
jump in here.
Yeah.
AJ Alavisas with the applicant. We had brought at the first hearing a number of
Right.
weeks, months ago, our civil engineer, Carlton Quinn of Alden Major. He was there. I think he did give an overview of the basics of the drainage system. And I think this comment specifically was raised, and he did address it at that hearing as much as he could in a hearing format without going through a 1,000-page drainage report and going through all of the work and engineering and calculations that his office does to design the stormwater plans. But that's why peer review exists. That Beta has been extremely thorough thus far in their peer review, and they will continue to be, to ensure the stormwater system is in compliance with Mass DEP's 10 stormwater standards, which ensures that no additional water is leaving the site than what is existing. So I just leave this, I kind of take the stance here of leaving it to the experts, which is really Allen and Major and Beta who's reviewing it, to ensure that our design is in compliance. And that's where I would leave this. And to answer your question, I'm happy to invite Carlton Quinn, our civil, to the next hearing. He wasn't able to make it tonight. He had a conflict, so I apologize about that. But he will attend the next one, so we can have him there to discuss anything related to stormwater.
So Beta has not raised any questions about the stormwater.
They're analyzing it now.
They're analyzing it now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they should tell us whether what they're
That's-
saying is true or whether there's a flaw in it.
Right.
So
I would love
what
to
we have
sit
now
and-
is that we're not increasing the flow that exists now. So we'll see if that holds true.
Did you have, I know, Gene, you wanted to talk. Did you have a follow-up just before we wrap it up? I just want to
No,
make.
I think you've given me a fair chance, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, through the chair, if I may.
Yeah, sure, Chris.
As far as Beta's comments, there were 62 regarding stormwater specifically. We're pretty sure we've addressed all of them sufficiently. I'm sure there'll be a couple of cleanup items going forward, but you know, a very thorough review and nothing that we couldn't make work. Secondly, I just pulled up the drainage report real quick. In the first 10 or 12 pages, there is a little summary table of both discharge rates as well as discharge volumes. And as compared between pre-development and post-development, reductions in cubic feet per second leaving the site, so the rate of runoff, we propose a reduction from between about 9% to 80%, depending on what study point you're looking at and what storm event we're discussing. And similarly for volumes, the proposed reduction in volumes of stormwater leaving the site ranges from about 37 to almost 90% reductions over existing conditions. So just, you know, to put some numbers to it at a very high level, that's kind of what we're looking at here.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Hi, good evening. Gene Grella, 36 Redgate Lane. The applicant is seeking waivers to certain bylaws. Since we're talking about stormwater tonight, I just want to address the stormwater waivers. Can the applicant speak to why they're seeking waivers from the local Franklin bylaws regarding the stormwater discharge?
I'll handle this one, Chris. Carlton Quinn, our civil engineer, could not make it tonight. He would be the one who could answer this question, so I apologize. Neither one of us are suited to answer that question.
Okay. So we could do that as a follow-up.
Yes, we certainly will.
Okay, thanks, AJ. Sir.
Hi, thank you. Steve Malloy, 19 Russet Hill Road. It's also in the Cooks Farm neighborhood. Interesting. I'm no expert in any of this. I've been trying to follow it as best I can. You all have a body of knowledge that we don't, but even on the panel, there's not the expertise, and even the developer is talking about as well. I'm wondering how, for the residents of that neighborhood and the citizens generally, this process evolves. What I think I would like to know from a layman's perspective is, this was the plan, this is how it was developed, these were the objections, these are why they're overcome. And to get some degree of comfort from you all that you've seen that you understand it, and that you, more importantly, can explain it to us. Because I listen to this and I have no idea what anybody's talking about. But it's too important not to have the optics around discussing this with citizens at the appropriate point to say, here are the issues, here's how they're resolved, and that you, as a commission, can explain it, not relying on the engineer who's not here tonight or somebody else who will be here, in summary, to give some degree of confidence about the process and how you all come out at the other end of this, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure. So I'll take a swing at that, right? So, you know, the good news is we, the commission, the town of Franklin, engage a third-party peer review company called Beta, right? They have experts, you know, stormwater engineers, wetland scientists. So they're our experts, so to speak, that advise us. When we talk about the peer review, the applicant originally submitted, this talks to the process, right? And stop me if I'm telling you stuff you know, but I think this answers your question. The applicant will submit a plan. Beta, we all in the commission look at it. Beta will take a look at it with their expertise and point out areas of challenge they see, whether it be design or relative to the Federal Wetlands Protection Act or Commonwealth of Massachusetts regulations. They will use their expertise to point that out. The applicant will typically respond to that. At the end of the day, the process we look to go through is to get everybody aligned on these points where we think there's some questions that remain unresolved. And in my experience, generally, we get to a point where we have experts that agree with their experts. Our role in the matter is to balance the information coming from various sources, assess the accuracy of it, and try and make good judgment decisions within the broad confines of the guidelines we're given. One thing that came up at our last meeting, and I'll throw it out there because I think it's good to understand, we had a resident ask us, well, geez, we've got this bylaw that reads this way. Why is it not just black and white that if the bylaw says no, that this is just automatically denied? That's a great question. The answer to that is, first of all, that's why you have a Conservation Commission. In a lot of cases, in the town of Franklin and any municipality in the Commonwealth, we've got some good decision-making capabilities. We have the ability to have a lot of influence. There is a higher authority that we all answer to. From a Conservation Commission standpoint, that's the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection and also the state judiciary. If we make rulings that seem arbitrary or don't take into account certain things, they can be challenged and potentially overturned. And in that case, we get concerned because we lose a little bit of an element of control. So when it comes to wetlands, for instance, though we don't like to see wetlands damaged and our job is to protect them, the general guidelines that the state looks at are avoid, minimize, and mitigate. Is an applicant doing their best to avoid damaging wetlands? Are they minimizing the impact? And have they done a good job mitigating or replicating? In some cases, often many cases, we can have a project where we don't like to see wetlands themselves disturbed, but it can happen. But say a buffer zone, which is something we get very concerned about, can get disturbed. And we can have replication at a 2-to-1 basis. We could actually end up with more resources on a property than if the project hadn't gone through, right? So these are all things that we have to hold in the balance. There's no hard and fast rule, but these are things that we consider. So I don't know if that helps answer your question. Oh, Gene, you had one other one. The other thing
I was just going to say that you brought up the 2-to-1. When this was originally proposed and approved by the town council, that was what we were told was going to happen, that there was going to be a 2-for-1 replication. That has since been changed to a 1-to-1 replication, just making that clear to everyone.
Yeah, and that one of the challenges there is, as I think you're probably aware, is being a 40B, they're not necessarily held to that, right? This is a friendly 40B, so they're working with us for some replication, but they're not necessarily held to that standard as other projects might be. The final comment I'll make to try and answer your question, I know it's long-winded, when you're talking stormwater and there's a lot of science and complicated calculations. From layman's terms, and we did talk about this at one meeting, the idea is to put in place a stormwater management system where the outflux of stormwater from that system, accounting for the increase in impervious soil, would be no more, and in this case, the proposal is less than what is being calculated now. Now, this is science and math, right? So, these are the calculations that the applicant has put forth with their stormwater management system, that there will be a reduction in water going into Uncas Brook, a reduction in water going to Uncas Brook based on the management system. We have our third party checking that math and that science, and they'll come back to us and say, okay, these calculations make sense, right? Those holding tanks are, again, this is a layman's version, right? They're going to hold the water, it'll disperse more slowly, and in essence, that's how a stormwater management system works, just in its most basic form.
No, I get that, and you answered generally what kind of we're talking about today, and I was just going to expand my comments to a broader sort of understanding for lay people who don't have the full understanding.
Yeah, 100%.
I think some degree, almost summary-like fashion, in plain English, to say, here's the objections, our experts said this, we come to agreement on that, we agree. And I know there's dozens and scores, and there'll be hundreds more, so I don't make this very tedious. But I want just to report that I think for some citizens would benefit by a more comprehensive, detailed review and assessment by this board before a final approval or whatever decision you make, to help us understand how you went through it, what you did,
Yeah.
the degree of trust and comfort that you have with the process, and even some of the further out questions regarding these, the wastewater system. What's the maintenance plan for that? How frequently does that happen? How do we know that that gets looked at? And 5 years from now, one of the wells or one of the drains is failing, and how is that checked and tested? Speaking from people who live on the other side of the river, those are the kind of concerns that I think we have.
Yep. So, there's a whole list of those issues that we just talked about,
Yep.
right? That are going back and forth now. We talked about at the beginning of the meeting. Right now, we're waiting for Beta, our third-party peer review group, to provide additional responses. Once that happens, we'll go through those in greater detail. At this point, there isn't, we were summarizing some of the bigger points to your comment.
I understand, and maybe I'm a little premature in terms of how some of this goes
That's
back and
okay,
forth,
yeah.
but just kind of get a comfort level around how this works and
Yeah.
how thorough the review of the peer review is, if you will.
I can tell you, it's always very thorough.
Okay.
I
This
mean,
is the
we
first response that we got back today, and it has questions and answers, questions and answers. There was a question and he's answered. There's more coming.
And I've tried to track some of that online, and you guys know more of the science and the details behind this, but, to the degree you can think about it from a layperson's perspective, with the idea in mind of explaining to the average person what your decision ultimately will be.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And that, as you heard at the beginning of the public hearing, we understand the concerns around stormwater. Our eyes are on it too.
Sure,
We
sure.
understand it's important. I think we want to make sure, again, AJ and Chris, I remember we did have some additional people from your team in. Again, this is the kind of concerns I think warrants maybe having them attend again. I think it just is good to be able to be here and answer questions that come up. I know it's a lot to attend these meetings. I think it's great if you can continue to come.
We want to do it. We'll continue to kind of work
Great.
our way through it. So thank you for
Yeah,
hearing what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's
And
part of the process.
it's not for nothing, but participating, standing out there or online and listening to what the engineers are saying and what we're asking, that's going to be your biggest help to try to understand it, because we're asking questions. Beta's asked questions and they've responded. So those are the kind of things that are going to be discussed in these.
Just need
And
a
if you
translator
can-
to help me understand what, because I read the questions and the answers, and I'm limited because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so.
None of us here are mental giants either, so we absorb it too,
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
outside of you.
One follow-up to the mental drain question?
Yeah.
So just, in terms of the process, so from the townspeople's perspective, the review is not over when Beta answers, Beta has done its job and people respond to Beta and Beta responded to people. At that point, it's yours, right, from our perspective. And one of the things we're hoping is that you can translate for us some of the impact of whatever is found out for the surrounding properties. And so one of the things, for example, is that all those questions that you were pointing to, none of them say the effect on the surrounding properties will be blah. They don't, because that's not, they presumably don't feel that's their job. They feel they're responsible for the water flow and the wetlands within the resource area, and that's what they're worried about. But the rest of the community is worried about the effect on the surroundings. And so so the extent to which you can translate to lay language what the effect on the surrounding properties would be extremely helpful to us.
Well, the end result of all these questions and everything are going to be, and if it changes from that, is that there's going to be a reduction in the stormwater flow from this project.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I
You
really don't have the expertise to dispute, but the flow rate is not, the flow is not just the issue. There's going to be a peak height of the, this is the way floods work. There's a long delay, and then flood water builds up and then it recedes. And often it can happen 24 hours after the rain is stopped. That's how floods work. And the kind of question is, what is that going to be in the one of the questions is, what's that going to be in the surrounding properties? And even if, because the rates have been changed and there's a certain amount of storage, that's all well and good. But it's entirely possible that the net highest point may be higher. Maybe it's a shorter duration, but it's higher. But in any case, that's the kind of, that's technical question that could be answered. And simply saying less water is not probably all that's coming out of these HydroCAD calculations. But we really has to know things like peak levels, and how far away from the surrounding property, from that property, are there going to be effects? Okay.
Mr. Commissioner, if I could just jump in real quick.
AJ.
As I said, we will make sure our civil engineer is present at the subsequent hearings. He had a conflict tonight with another project that he had previously committed to for another hearing in Waltham. But going forward, we'll make sure our civil engineer's in attendance so he can answer technical questions like this. But I also think it would be helpful if I could suggest having Beta present as well, because coming from the town's third-party peer review independent engineer might have a different impact than information and testimony coming from ours as the developers. So I think that might be helpful as just a suggestion. And perhaps after they finish their subsequent review letter, and we have some more, boiled down issues to talk about, like probably some final remaining issues once they've responded to our response letter, it might be appropriate. Just a suggestion.
They're taking, AJ, not a bad idea. Thank you. I'll talk to them about that. Okay. We have another comment?
I had a comment.
Could you give us your name and address?
I'm Stephen Arnold from 520 Maple Street. I attended the conservation group a couple of months ago, and I think they brought this up about Cook's property, but also from Donovan on Partridge Street, the Donovan property with flood and surge, and I thought it over. Well, when we talked about the Donovan property, because the river runs behind my house, we mentioned like silt had built up from all the development over the years. I've been there since the 50s, my folks, but they built Southgate and drainage, and in the 80s they made the runoff go down to Partridge, and I think it was one of you asked, was it this a lot of silt or something? And I don't know. I just thought that at first I thought maybe you could put pumps in Cook's County, Cook's property to relieve the problem. But I just was thinking now, how about dredging? Could you dredge the silt, or dredge the wetlands, and perhaps make the flow easier and runoff more fluid?
Yeah, I think I think there is, if the specific question is around silt, I think, Chris, there's some silt management built into the stormwater plan, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. It's actually total suspended solids is the term that the engineers typically use, and that refers to anything solid suspended in the water, sand, silt, gravel, etc. And the standard for redevelopment, I think, is an 80% reduction in total suspended solids. So in order to have this project go anywhere, we certainly need to comply with that, in addition to the remainder of the stormwater management standards. So that is absolutely part of it. There are structural components to the stormwater system that we're proposing, whose job is exactly that, to separate out solids before they're able to be discharged. And so that would encompass sort of the long-term aspect of this project. More specifically, during the construction phase, we have erosion controls shown surrounding essentially the entire site. So the intention with that is obviously to minimize the potential for any silt or sediment to run off during the construction phase. Additionally, and this was a comment that Beta raised, because we're disturbing over an acre of land, we're subject to, at the federal level, the United States Environmental Protection Agency's NPDES permit. So we'll need a NPDES permit and to have a SWIP prepared for this project. That's at the federal level, federal jurisdiction under US EPA. NPDES is the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. And this is a permit we'll have to apply for and obtain. And as part of that permit, we will have a SWIP document prepared, which is a stormwater pollution prevention plan. And these things kind of work together to ensure that as land is being disturbed, anything over an acre is required to obtain a NPDES permit and prepare a SWIP document. So as work is going here, these provisions will be in place with how certain situations are handled. There are regular inspections of erosion control measures, such as a wattle, or I know you folks don't like silt fence, but in other towns maybe a silt fence. These types of things with regular inspections, regular repairs, and lengthy documentation on how construction and erosion control on this site is supposed to go. So that speaks more to the construction phase portion.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
I just had a quick question. Chris, do you know what the soil type is in the riverbed?
I don't know offhand. I would assume it's mapped as a hydrologic soil group C or D, which is probably poorly drained and typically what you find in a wetland. Outside of that, I know there are extensive soil test pit logs included in the drainage report. I don't know all those offhand. But frequently, we haven't done any test pits or sampling in the stream itself, obviously. You guys would have needed to give us permission to do so. But in any event, typically those are, a mucky material that would be poorly drained.
Thank you.
So Chris, I did have a question. So there, on one of the comments, they had when you were talking about the disturbance within 1 acre triggers the federal level requirements.
Right.
Do they have anything within the state level that also has like an extra additional layer of kind of like a set of requirements for Massachusetts for equal disturbance?
Not that I'm aware of in terms of, a square footage of land disturbance. There are some, obviously you folks have jurisdiction to some extent. In some towns, there are, additional bylaws that regulate similar types of things, but I don't believe there's a state level requirement. I think the state kind of defers to the feds on that.
Okay. And then one other comment, I think it was on page 2 of the responses. I think there was a comment about the status of a DEP number. Is that any different from the one that was already looked into?
Yeah. So we received a DEP number for the ANRAD filing, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay.
That would be separate from, you would get a second one for an NOI filing.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I had some questions, but I think in the for the sake of responses, and getting the technicals, having the engineer, attend the next meeting would be, beneficial.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll make sure that happens, and I think we'll probably, after another round of review from Beta, I think we'll probably whittle down these comments a bit, and hopefully we can be a little more focused and productive about specific talking points.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent. Anybody else? Anybody online? I don't think we see any hands up, do we, Tyler? All right. With that, we will go with a, Roger, maybe you want to handle this one, a motion to continue the NOI for 444 East Central Street to 821 at 703.
I'd like to make a motion for the NOI at 444 East Central Street to 703 on 821.
Second. Vote to continue.
Vote to continue.
Continue?
Continue.
Continue.
Louis?
Continue.
All right. Motion continued. All right. Appreciate you guys coming in.
Thanks, folks.
With that, we will open up the NOI for 260 Daniels Street. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Do we have anybody here from we got a hand up. Is that Brian Hassett? Yep. Hey, Brian.
Hey guys,
How are you?
hey, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect.
So, status of the situation is, we got the revised plans. Thank you, Brian. We were hoping to get the 2 trees that we were looking to get removed on there. We're waiting on Jimmy for that information, and doesn't look like we have Jimmy with us. So, beyond that, I don't know if we've got an update.
No, I mean, but honestly, the plans that you guys received are the same ones that were presented at the last meeting. The last items, like you were saying, were just the 2 trees that we were looking to remove. I think one was dead, one had invasive bittersweet on it. So yeah, just looking to add those to there. I do know, at the last meeting, Jimmy was, I know it might be something that would be beneficial to remove the bittersweet and remove the dead tree. I know Jimmy was saying he didn't really want to pull up the process for the 2 trees, but yeah, I guess I'm not sure. I haven't been able to speak with him on how he wanted to proceed exactly with that tonight. So I'm not really prepared to make any suggestions besides a continuance to the next meeting.
Okay. So we do have the plans we looked at. Keep getting booted off the Wi-Fi here.
I do have, I can share the screen.
Yeah,
too, if
you bring them
guys
up.
want.
That'd be great.
Yeah, sure.
So, just a thought here, a couple options we got, right? These we do have these plans on hand now, absent the 2 trees, but everything else we talked about is on there. We still haven't received the invasive species plan. So, options are we can continue and wait for that, or we could condition that if we want to move this along. It's too bad. I would have loved if Jimmy could have been here so we could have talked to him about the status of these 2 things. But at any rate.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we got a response, Tyler.
Didn't see one.
Yeah.
So it's just the invasive.
So we got the invasive species plan, right? We gave him resources to research that and put that together. He needs to submit, and then putting the 2 trees he wants to take down on the plans. Jimmy is the one that knows the locations of those, so he would need to submit that to the engineering firm. So, you know, we can, again, we can condition that, right? Or we can wait and talk to him about that. So I don't know if you guys have a preference on that.
I think to make
So
sure
Mark-
it happens, we ought to wait for Jimmy.
I'm good with that.
As you see a participant who's wishing to raise their hand, the owner, do you want me to?
Yeah,
Please.
Oh, Donnie texted me, I thought she Facebooked you. Hello,
hello?
this is Diane Raimondi. Jimmy does not want to hold up the plan for the trees. If it means holding up, moving forward, we'll do it after.
Okay, I mean, if you can just identify the location of the trees, it's not tough to put them on the plans, right? It'd be, the holdup is more not putting them on the plans, you know what I mean? You know, and besides the point, he owes us an invasive species management plan. There's a considerable amount of Japanese knotweed on the site. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Right,
So
which
we've
was
been-
here when I bought the house 10 years ago.
Right, right. So the, you know, the thing we're concerned about, right, is we've been waiting on those two things for, I want to say, at least a couple meetings now. I haven't heard from anybody about it. I appreciate you guys being here. Jimmy seems to be the guy that is the controlling entity of this information, and he's not attending. So, you know, we're a little reluctant to move forward without getting that information first, because it's been such a challenge to get it to begin with. That's kind of where it sits.
Okay, well, last meeting, he did specify that if the trees are gonna hold up the project, then he wants to move forward and he'll do the trees later.
I think it's the invasive species program that's holding it up. I don't think we'd hold it up for the trees, but we don't have that here, and
Yeah.
we kind of need it.
Brian, I
But
think Jimmy could give you
Those
the.
were here when I bought the house, so why is that an issue?
It's
Why is the invasive species plan an issue?
Right, they were here. It's not like we added it.
So, because you're going through a project here, right, that is, and some of this work has been done, and this is part of the issue, right? Is you've disturbed the site, you've disturbed some wetlands buffer zones, and that has an impact on the invasive species, right? So as part of permitting work in these buffer zones, which again is somewhat retroactive, but it does need to be permitted. And part of permitting that, when you're gonna disturb an area that's rife with invasive species, is we need a management plan. You know, if, hey, you moved in and you weren't doing anything, the stuff was just still sitting there, that'd be one thing, but you're disturbing the area, and that generates a whole separate set of issues. I hope that explains why.
So do you want us to spray it and kill it? Is that what you're saying?
So with Japanese knotweed, it's a little bit more complex than that. It's a very challenging species to remove. What we did is we got some resources from a third party, and we provided those to Jimmy so he could research that and lay out the specifics as how the Japanese knotweed would be managed. So you got that
I
information.
am in no position to hire someone to do that. It's already cost me close to $15,000.
Well, I mean, you know, Jimmy can put together the plan. I don't know what the expense would be here, but, you know, that's a pretty important part of moving this forward, is having an invasive species management plan.
All right. This town.
So at this point, so Brian, question for you. I think, would Jimmy be able to give you the location of the trees to be added to the plans?
I think he would be able to, yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy already pointed out the tree situation. He pointed it out to Lou when he was here. And he also specified if it's gonna hold up the project, then he's not doing it now.
So the,
So,
so we're looking to do, so he pointed the trees out to a conservation commissioner, that's great. We're actually looking to have him provide that information to the company you've got that's put the plans together for this project, so they can put them on the plans.
It wouldn't be too much problem. All you gotta do is a pencil and make 2 little dots on there, and we'd be happy.
so Brian, or for the commission, so I took pictures of the location of those 2 trees. Brian, if that's something that's helpful to you, to kind of, ballpark, I mean, there are 2 identifiable ones in there. And,
Okay, yeah,
and,
I can definitely take a look and take a look at the pictures and give it a stab, yeah.
yeah, okay, because, it's obviously it's not going to be exact, you're just going to have to reference the photos and,
Okay.
and
Oh,
then
right, of course,
overlay
yeah.
them in there.
So-
But they are there, we did talk about them, but again, we were also waiting for Jimmy and some, updated information. Of course, we didn't want to hold this up, but, I'm just providing, my support to this to see if we can, since I've been onto the field and Anna has too, we had a conversation about it. I, present those photos and you can go from there to see what what. So how does that work?
All right, so.
Yeah, definitely, that works for
So then
me.
we've got one problem solved, so we're just, for the homeowner, if you can prompt Jimmy to get the invasive species plan together, I think we've been over a month waiting for that, then we'll have everything we need.
Okay, so what happens if someone wants thousands of dollars to do this project? I am in no position to do it.
I mean, can't comment on that. Let's get the invasive species plan laid out. We'll see if it's acceptable and I'd suggest see what it looks like. I mean, Jimmy's was gonna do the research and put that together. So let's get the facts so we know exactly what we're talking about, right? We're making assumptions here. There's no sense in trying to make a decision based on assumptions. Let's have Jimmy put together what he said he was gonna do, submit it to the commission, and then we can look at it and make an educated decision, okay?
Do you know if he submitted it to Tyler?
No, he's not submitted anything to us for an invasive species plan.
Okay.
And I've actually sent him a couple emails myself that he hasn't responded to, so maybe you want to prompt that along, that'd be great.
Okay, he's up north right now, so I'll have to wait till he gets back on Sunday.
Okay, that's fine. We'll have time for public comments in a minute, thank you, though. Okay, Brian, does that make sense from your perspective?
Yeah, I think so, yep.
Okay. So for the owner, you're gonna follow up with Jimmy. We solved the tree problem here, so that's good, but you're gonna follow up with Jimmy and get us the invasive species management program, right? Okay. Questions from any of the commissioners? Okay. All right, sir. Sorry to make you wait, but just trying to, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve Arnold, 520 Maple Street. I had a dead tree on my property, but I had trees taken down, and it's expensive, but I called the tree warden. I don't know if you know, we have a tree warden, and I said to him, because years ago he came and took down a tree, and he says, hey, this one's rotten too, I have ants. And he says, oh, I don't know if I should be spending the taxpayers' money on taking down trees. So I don't know, I waited a couple of months and a couple of weeks, and then he put an X on the tree and finally got around to coming and taking the tree down for me, because it does cost a lot of money to have a tree taken down.
Okay, good to know. Okay, thank you. All right, so with that, we will, Nicole, you want to give us a motion to continue the NOI from 260 Daniel Street to 821 and 704?
I give a motion to continue the NOI for 260 Daniel Street till October 21st.
Second? Vote to continue.
Vote to continue.
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 Vote to continue.
Continue.
All right, continue. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
All right,
Thanks, Dan.
next we have the ANRAD for 731 King Street. Do we have anybody here for 731 King?
I did get an email a few hours ago from Paul from Colonial Engineering requesting an extension, he said, to the next meeting. I believe he meant
Okay.
continuance in that case.
All right, so we're going to continue
We're
that.
going to continue.
All right, Richard, you want to give us a?
Certainly.
Yeah.
I'd like to give you a motion to continue the ANRAD for 731 King Street to 7:05 PM on August 21st.
Second?
All right.
Vote to continue.
Vote to continue?
Continue?
Continue.
Continue?
Grove Street.
Continue.
All right, continue. Thanks. All right, next up is the NOI from 21 Grove Street. Do we have anybody here for 21 Grove? We do have a hand up.
Is that the jewelry place?
Yes. Former jewelry place, but yes. Yeah.
I talked to Melanie Compton at the senior center, and I think her father used to own Compton on 140 used to own part of that. What's the name of the jewelry place that was there? But she mentioned that it was sort of hazardous waste and it needed cleaning up. And,
That's what we're working on.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you. So it looks like Matthew,
Yeah, this is Matt Elger from Beta. I'm the LSP for that project.
hey Matt,
I'm in
and
attendance
Tyler,
here
see
tonight.
you too. Hey guys, how are you?
Hello.
So at the last hearing, we had continued so that you would have a chance to come up with special conditions.
Yep. So here is, well, first off, any additional or follow-up questions from the commission?
I did have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I had a question about the seating. You had mentioned that you were gonna put silt fencing, or excuse me, landscaping fabric over the soil and then seed it. How is that going to work with the upcoming, fall and winter season?
Seeding is, it's possible at the end of the season, typically after the heat backs off a little bit in the fall. As long as we have a few weeks without any frost, the seed will germinate just fine.
So the soil is still contaminated. And what are you going to put? You're just going to put a mix of seed, or because there is another, it's phytoremediation of the soil where you put hyper accumulating plants over the soil, and then it helps to uptake the
At this phase, it would just be clean fill over the top, and then it would just be a seed mix to stabilize it. I know at the last hearing we did discuss there's going to have to be some future remediation on the site, but this is just about removal of the home itself, the building itself.
Okay. But in the report, it's also saying that if that area floods, so if you're having an event and that soil is running off, I mean, and then if you're removing the building, it's going to disturb the soil even further?
Yes, I mean, we did discuss this in the last hearing. All we can do is, we have our erosion controls intended to keep any sediment from actually making it into the stream, and then, permanently stabilizing the site. Well, I say permanently, but stabilizing the site until, future remediation projects. So, the seed mix will stabilize the site in the meantime, in the case of any flooding that happens on the site. The contamination is already there. So this doesn't change that, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Okay,
No, I think we should go.
so,
Matthew had his hand up.
oh, Matt,
I
did
think we had a
you,
hand up.
Matt, did you have something to add?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the soil beneath the building has never been tested, so we actually don't know if it's contaminated yet. We think it might be a possibility, but we haven't tested it, and we have no idea what the concentrations are at this point. We don't think it's gonna be a horrible situation in the soil that's immediately beneath the slab. So when we take away the building, it's a step in the right direction to eventually, clean up that area if it is indeed contaminated. But we have to get that building out of the way in order to test it. So we think that taking away the building and putting down, say, a foot of soil plus the seed will keep it stable for now and allow us to go, or somebody to go back in and test it. And then we can, actually talk about what contamination is in there. It could be relatively clean, so we really want to find that out. So that's the goal of it,
So how do you remove the slab without disturbing the soil?
You just pull it off of the soil
You can,
and take it away, so the soil would still be there. And then would cover it, then dump clean soil on top of it, brought in from a different location, from a sand and gravel pit somewhere.
you can pull the concrete slab off with minimal disturbance of what's underneath it. If you
Yeah,
think-
we wouldn't be digging
if
into
you-
the soil at all.
If you go ahead, if that's your plan at the beginning, if we don't want to disturb what's underneath it, then, yeah, you can do it.
So is that the plan then, to not disturb the soil underneath it and not have it disperse into the air, the ambient air? I mean, I don't.
So one thing that I think is germane to your question, right, in thinking about conditions, Matt and Tyler, because part of it's, it's a complex situation, right? The building is right on the edge of the bank. We've got a lot of invasive species right on the bank. And, everybody's aware of that. So, a way to, and the demolition process itself, right? Making sure that we're not disturbing the soil, we're not having stuff go into Mine Brook. So the way we thought we might get at that is, and Matt and Tyler, you can give us your comments, applicant shall schedule with the Conservation Commission Department a meeting with the demolition contractor for this project to review plan, means, and methods for the demolition before the commencement of work. And then the applicant shall schedule time with the commission and department to coordinate on-site inspections during the demolition prior to the commencement of work. And then we also put in there that the applicant shall immediately notify the Conservation Commission Department via telephone or email if any material from demolition or invasive species inadvertently enters Mine Brook. So that way, so I don't know, where I was going with, I'm not sure that they could answer your exact question right now, but before the demolition starts, if we can have a meeting and,
Yeah.
they tell us, to that point, here's how the slab's gonna be removed, right? And then we can do some inspections on that, just to help. That seemed like a way to get at that,
Yeah.
is a thought. So I don't know if that helps, but it's germane to.
We could go out and monitor too.
That's, yeah, the
mean,
inspection, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just members of the commission could,
Yeah, we'll pre-schedule some time.
Yeah.
We'll talk. And this is up to you guys, if you're comfortable with this, right? We'll talk to the contractor, see what they're gonna do, make sure we're comfortable with that, approve it, hopefully, and then pre-schedule some time that we could go out there and take a
Yeah.
look. That was a suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's gonna go out to bid to a contractor, so we don't have anybody on board right now, so.
Right, right.
A meeting with them to discuss this would be perfect.
Okay.
And the last thing we wanna do is disturb Mine Brook. That's, sort of the overall point of the project is to make sure there's no contamination next to Mine Brook anymore, to clean it up ultimately. So, the goal here is to protect Mine Brook, and, once we get a contractor on board, yeah, every safety precaution that we can throw at them would be
Maybe we
be
do a
great.
work session, right? So-
Yeah. This is supposed to be a process that improves the situation out there, not,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So we
This
need
is-
to hold that in our sights, that we want to make an improvement here, not make it any worse.
Right, yeah, it's a hazardous,
Yeah.
waste site that we want to clean
We
up.
want to disturb, we don't want to distribute any contaminated material around.
Yeah.
Steve Arnold, 520 Maple Street. I could save you a little time and effort by just going back to Buckley and Mann. I worked there, and they did a similar review, and they never found any hazardous wastes, and that took place maybe 20 years ago in Norfolk, Lawrence Street, Mill Street, Franklin. I didn't say that, I can't think of, New Style had hazardous waste either. That's what some people think. Maybe New Style doesn't have hazardous waste. At Buckley and Mann, I think they filed a lawsuit trying to find hazardous waste at Buckley and Mann. And, they didn't disturb the pads there, and Buckley and Mann just let the property go back to what it is now. That would save you a lot of time and effort if you just went back and reviewed that model, I think.
Well, I think we need to get this particular site investigated, but thank you. for the input. Okay. Matt, did you have your hand's still up? Do you have something else to add?
Oh, no, I will lower my hand. That's it.
No
Yep.
problem. Any other questions? So you guys are good with, and we've got some standard conditions, you guys are good with those special conditions? Additional special conditions? Matt and Tyler?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
So, one question on that first one. So scheduling a meeting to review the plan, means, and methods. Do you want to change that to review and approve?
That's a good, so, for the demolition, good catch, Michael,
That's not bad.
to be approved before the commencement of work, right?
Yeah.
All right, good catch, thank you. Always want a metric in there. That's why it helps to talk about these things, thank you. Okay. All right, good.
Yeah,
All
sounds
right.
good.
So, so the conditions we're laying out for this, and then we'll go to a vote, would be standard special conditions, 19, mitigation planning plan, 20, erosion control barriers, 21, extra siltation barriers, or siltation barriers, sorry, 24, work performed according to plan, 25, referencing order of conditions, 26, revisions of plans and order of conditions, 27, approved changes, 28, notification prior to work, 29, right to impose additional conditions, 30, erratas changes, 31, compliance contact information, 33, use of clean fill, 34, no straw bales, 35, stockpile maintenance, 37, remedy upon problem identification, 38, varies the limit of work, 39, limit of work is marked, 40, no construction materials, 41, inspections and disposal of sediment, 44, removal of barriers, 45, dewatering plan, 46, stockpile location, 47, removal of sediment, 51, building permit sign off, and then with the additional special condition, oh, and actually, before we had that, we had the findings, public water supply, private water supply, groundwater supply, storm damage prevention, prevention of pollution, protection of wildlife habitat, and additional special conditions. Applicant shall schedule with the Conservation Commission and Department a meeting with the demolition contractor for this project to review plan, means, and methods for the demolition to be approved before the commencement of work. 53, applicant shall schedule time with the Conservation Commission and Department to coordinate on-site inspections during during the building demolition prior to the commencement of work. 54, applicant shall immediately notify the Conservation Commission Department via telephone or email if any materials from the demolition or invasive species inadvertently enters Monty Brook. So with that,
Mike,
yes, sir.
did I hear erosion control around the stockpile of material? Or is it being removed right away?
It didn't condition that way. Maybe you guys can comment on that. Are you putting erosion controls around the?
That is what's proposed in the plan, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's it. Okay, good catch, Roger, thank you. All right, so with that, Michael, you want to give us, we'll do a motion to close the NOI for 21 Grove Street.
I'll give you a motion to close the NOI for 21 Grove Street.
Second. Vote to close.
Vote to close.
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 Louis?
Close.
All right, now, Roger, you want to give us a motion to approve the NOI for 21 Grove Street with conditions as stated?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the NOI for 21 Grove Street with special conditions.
Okay,
Second.
all right.
Vote to approve.
Vote to approve.
Approved?
Approved.
Approve.
Louis? All right, it's approved. Thanks, guys.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Give me something to do.
Yeah, right. All right, that concludes the public hearings, and we are now on to minor buffer zone activities. The first one we have up is 7 Briarwood. Do we have anybody here from 7 Briarwood?
I am Darla Pishoff here, owner of 7 Briarwood.
Hey, Darla, how you doing?
Okay, how are you guys?
Really good.
Hanging in there.
So, you want to give us just a quick, brief overview? We've got some info here, but it's always good to hear from you.
Sure. So the minor buffer zone activity that I'm looking at is just building a 16 by 20 deck on an area that's actually already cleared and kind of this crushed stone that's already there. I submitted like building plans to you guys, and I also had Anna out from Beta to kind of look over the area. And then the other thing that's added onto this is just a shed that's kind of toward the middle of the property, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna affect any of the buffer zone as well from that perspective.
Yep, so it looks like you got some of the deck in the 50 to 100, a bunch of the deck in the 100, and I think the shed's all in the 100, all. The deck, like you said, pre-disturbed, gravel base, and the shed's going on existing lawn, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's correct.
yep. I think the only recommendation we had, I don't know if you have any erosion controls planned?
So I didn't, and I just talked with Tyler earlier today because I saw that the evaluation was to do some erosion control on the down gradient. And so I think that's on the right side of kind of that crushed stone area.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to do that to make sure that that keeps anything that we're doing off of the wetlands and doesn't corrode that, like doesn't abut that area or damage that area in any way.
Yeah, perfect. You can see those gradient lines, you know, off the back railing of the deck going down, right? And headed, so yeah, it'd be, yeah, around that area.
Yeah, you see the lines.
Dolly, quick question, this is Roger. When I was out there, in regards to the septic system that was put in, there was an erosion control around the property for that. Is that still there?
It is, because my landscaper, I just talked with Tyler because I had my landscaper that was going to take it out this week. But with these recommendations, I was thinking of keeping that buffer zone, that erosion control that's there.
Yeah.
And then there's one area that I still have left over from the right side of the property that I could move into that area to make sure that really none of it's affected at all.
That'd be great. I think that's
Yeah, I'd say that's what you want to do, save a few dollars.
Leave it until you get everything done.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so when Tyler told me that today, I was like, oh, I'm so glad my landscaper didn't take it out last week. He got delayed.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I'm good.
When I was out there, it looked like she was ready to go, really.
All
That
right.
was a few weeks back.
Okay.
Nicole, you want to give us a motion to approve the MBZA for 7 Briarwood?
Give a motion to approve the MBZA for 7 Briarwood Road.
Second. Vote to approve.
Vote to approve.
Approve?
Approve.
Approve?
Approved.
All right, thanks, Darla, appreciate the explanation. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
381 Prospect, I don't think we heard from Rudy, and driving by, it doesn't look like he did anything
I
additional.
sent him an email this afternoon. He said he hasn't had a chance, unfortunately. I think he is looking for some assistance on acquiring or finding the correct seed mix to put down on the property there. But so I'm just gonna check and see. I think
Actually, if he clicked on those links, it takes you to where you can buy it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried that, because I was interested too.
All right, I'll see if we can send those back over.
So all we're waiting for is a seed mix? that he-
No, he's got to go out, remember, he was going to finish off the gravel and, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he didn't have time, or
Yeah, he was going back to school. or
he's going back to school.
Yeah, something, so, he didn't think it'd be by this meeting, but we gave him some leeway. All right, so Rich, you want to continue that MBZA?
Sure. I'll give you a motion to continue the MBZA for 381 Prospect Street to,
We don't have to do a time for those.
no, we don't have to do a
Yeah.
time.
8/21. August, okay, second that,
Vote to continue.
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 Continue?
Louis?
Continue.
All right. Next, we've got a certificate of compliance for 25 Forge Parkway. Anna, do you want to give us would you mind an overview of the site visit there?
Yeah.
How you doing, by the way?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good to see you.
Let me just pull up my pictures. Yeah, so at the site visit, it looked like a majority of the initial comments that Tyler had from his original site visit were dealt with. The stone and sand that were previously observed to have migrated off the rock fill had been removed, trash and construction material had been removed. And then that slope that was previously observed was having like the significant rill erosions. The rills were filled in and hydro seed was placed. I can show you some pictures.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
So here's that slope.
That looks better.
Yeah, I don't know if you
wish
remember
my
what it,
mom
I have
would
some
like that.
pictures from what it originally looked like too, if you want to see those.
Yeah.
So this is what it had previously looked like.
Not good.
Okay,
And they had also removed all of this sediment.
okay.
So yeah, I think we had just recommended waiting until the seed grew in that area. But that's up to you guys. Since that's all within buffer zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a COC, we could give it a few weeks. I wouldn't, I don't know, what you guys, I wouldn't mind seeing a little growth.
Sure, growth.
It was so bad before. I mean, that looks pretty good, but let's, yeah.
I guess the only thing we just want to wait and see if
Yeah,
the grass grows.
yeah, we'll just give it a couple meetings and revisit it, one of us can.
If it grows, we're good.
Yep, okay. All right, well, thank you, Anna.
No problem.
Yeah, so we're all good, we'll just wait, okay.
Sure. Why not?
All right, we've got the minutes from July 10th and July 24th.
Mr. Chair, I think we still have for that one, there's a Michael, I believe, Malinowski for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, for 25,
Just in case he had any comments on that.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay, sir. Oh. Yeah, Michael Malinowski from Allen & Major Associates. I know, and I'm not sure, I was covering for Brian Jones, but I know there had been some photos that have been submitted of that area. I know the grass is a little sparse, but it is still stable, and the grass has started to come in. And I'm not sure if, I believe those photos have been shared with Anna.
We just looked through them.
Well, so the ones that she had showed were with the hydroseed nice and green.
Okay.
I think
So you have
back-
different photos.
Yeah, back from when it was in July.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen any new photos. I'm sorry
Oh.
if I don't know if I missed the email or something, but.
That is okay.
If I recall, Brian had said he was going to share them like at the meeting, like, because they'd probably be the most recent ones.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think we have, Michael, I don't think we have anything new.
Okay.
So if you have it,
I do, if you guys can change me over to a panelist, I can share my screen.
Sure thing.
You see my screen?
yep,
So that is a close-up of that slope. You can still see the fiber mat that is included in the original hydroseed. You can still see that it is there. So the slope is stable. You can see some growth coming in. So the grass is coming, and currently the slope is stable. These photos were taken on the 5th of August, just a couple of days ago.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah. Okay, may have. Yeah, that's a similar
I
one.
can't see the mat.
Don't see too much.
I think all that.
Well, so it changes color. It's actually a brown color in this photo. So you can see
Oh, you
some
got
of
a
the
few.
brownish color. Yeah, so it does discolor over time. So it's not the vibrant green as before, but it is still intact, which is a good sign. And the other photo I have is just more of a close-up of that area.
I personally, I'd love to see it go a few more weeks just to see
Okay.
it really set. So appreciate the updated pictures. Tell you
Okay.
what, our next meeting is in 2 weeks. If,
Okay.
you know, the Thursday before, even if you just want to email us pictures of what it looks like then.
We can certainly do that. I will have the client snap some pictures and see if we've got a bit more growth out there.
Yeah, give it as much time as possible and, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Put some water on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not much rain
Yeah, we
predicted, so.
No.
Well, appreciate you coming in and sharing that. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
All right. Yeah, if you can shoot those over, we'll take another look.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate the catch, Tyler. I didn't see that. All right, so minutes for July 10th and July 24th. I went through them. I was using them a bunch for recap. And so I combed through them pretty well, but I think they're pretty good.
Good.
All right, so Michael, I think you're up. You want to give us a motion to approve the minutes for July 10th?
Give you a motion to approve the minutes for July 10th.
Second. Approve.
Approve?
Approve?
Approve.
Approve?
Approved.
All right. Meeting minutes approved. And then Rod, you want to give us motion to approve July 24th?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for July 24th.
Second. Approve.
Vote to approve.
Approve?
Approve.
Approve?
Louis?
Approved.
All right, approve those. All right, we're on to discussion topics. So we've got Tri-County. Louis, you want to give us I know you went back out, you had some thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure thing. So I know right before I left for work travel, there was a storm, I believe, and let's see, let me take a look at the photos here. So I went out there just to kind of look at, in preparation for the storm. I think it happened like Thursday night. So just walking up, it seems like it's a lot better. I mean, they definitely, the crew out there has definitely been cleaning out the storm drains, the catch basins, and the test was when the storm actually occurred to see how effective the measures were. So I do have some photos if I'm able to share that. So I think I can. Actually, that's not it.
Looks like it's starting to come up. Give me a second. There it is.
Yeah, I think these were older. No, my apologies. The newer ones were. Just to, I'm kind of looking for these photos. So really, what I saw was just, there's still runoff, but it's minimal. From the day before the storm, it seems like the area where where the GO trail is, where you have like the larger area where it catches the storm water, had been basically updated with their, moving some of the stone around. That area where I pointed out, I think in Anna, when we were walking, that one catch basin that was completely covered, and until we rediscovered it again, that seemed to have basically have a lot of the runoff going into that. So that fills up very quickly. And then when I was out there, I think it was probably like 3 hours into the storm, you saw like basically it was already covered, filled up to the point where the water level was starting to rise up again. So I'm sure throughout the night, perhaps some of that, might have also, the water might have run off again to the downhill. But that it seems like that particular, because it's the lowest point of that parking lot. So something to kind of maybe have a conversation with Tri-County and see, what additional, corrections they can go ahead and work with that. So, unfortunately, I know I saved my photos into a folder here and I can't even find them anymore. So,
So your assessment was it'd be good to have them in, review the situation, post their corrections, and after that storm, there may be some additional work that needs to be done?
yeah, and really just kind of focus on where the lowest point is, and I have my photos up, so now I can better explain the situation here. But really just to see what else can they do there, and I took this photo, I think it was like the day before, 31 July, and just kind of walking up there just to see what it looks like right now. This was interesting because you see the silt socks there, you see that gap opening where potentially the water would have run off and wouldn't really catch it. So they did have the stone on the upper portion of that, as you can see. But that wasn't the case when during this, when I came back up there during the storm. But one of the things I wanted to point out here is when they're moving a lot of that rock around, the gravel, a lot of it's going into the drain there. So maybe they have to really focus on not doing that, because it just becomes ineffective if you introduce things like that into the catch basin. So something to look out for. This was the rain event. Not as I don't think there was a lot of rain as in previous times where I saw the runoff, but it's still there. It didn't look too bad. Just going up the like I said, my dog had to go, so I walked her up there. But this is the areas where, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But this was the on the first. Let's see. So that timestamp's incorrect too. So I don't know why it's giving me that. But this is. I think that timestamp's because I'm in, you know, I'm in the like 7 hours. So when I downloaded it, so so this is where the water on the upper part, where the parking lot is. So you can start to see a lot of pooling. This is already pretty much you know, covered at this point. This was the area again where it was, you know, when me and Anna took a look at it, it was covered. Again, it's already starting to pull up. You know, it fills up pretty quickly, and you know, you start seeing in a couple hours that will basically over topple the curb there. So I know this was like earlier in the rainstorm. So you know, I didn't go there overnight, so I couldn't see, you know, I couldn't monitor it. But you know, when I took my dog out there, you know, this was kind of where, you know, it was, the conditions were looking like. So you know, it's so again, going back to the where the you know, this the socks were. It seems like they had, you know, added extra precautions into that. You can see, like, you have larger stones at the base. They move things around, so they did prepare for the storm, which was good. But, you know, eventually water will start going to the path of least resistance. So, and then it flow downhill to where you see most of it catch at that the lower parking lot there area. So. But like I said, it's they done a better job, like I said. But I think if we continue on with the periodic storms that, you know, especially that we're heading to, you know, it's summertime. You know, we do get the summer showers, but then we're also going to head into the fall. You know, what else can they do to prevent the water from you know, overspilling it above the curb elevation there? So.
So Louis, that stone work there, is they piled that up as a additional barrier for the runoff?
Yeah, so like this,
right.
This was,
That's
yeah, I
good.
wish I took a better picture. So they piled it on, so this, you know, obviously the socks don't move, but then they also have the smaller gravel. And then I think I want to say, if you see my mouse, this is where the catch basin is, around this area. So, you know, they've moved, I think they're kind of moving stuff around just to kind of see what is effective. But they are trying. So I want to say, you know, I wanted to point that out, that they are doing things to see what may work better. But again, at the end of the day, you're going to still see a runoff going down to the lower parking lot. And those two catch basins get filled quickly. So maybe they have to, like, maybe explore some options for that area. So
The thing about putting silt socks in catch basins is
You
that
know,
it's good. It catches the silt, but it also dramatically decreases the amount of water you can get through it into the catch basin. You know, in a normal catch basin, it'd be flowing down right into it.
Yeah.
Well, so you put a silt sack on there, and it slows it
Yeah.
down, and then if you get some silt in there, it really impacts
slows it
it.
down, yeah.
So it's a, you know, it's the devil, and what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
I think the
that's
complexity with this
the worst,
is
what you
that-
gotta do is you gotta clean those damn silt sacks out
So
on a
water
regular
get through 'em.
basis.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't.
like
And I think we actually.
Like I said, this wasn't like a too heavy rainstorm compared to, you know, we had that, the ones that kind of stood out were the ones where you know, I showed you pictures of, but like I said, they're on the upper elevation. It seems like they've been doing their, you know, proactively figuring out how to best manage this. But you still have these two that are catch basins that are fixed, you know, that just runs to the lower elevation. That you'll see more of the accumulation. And so, like you said, and like you said, it's that, you know, it would benefit if they had something else in there as well, to so it wouldn't, you know, clog up like that as quickly as normal. So that's really what, like I said, I went out there. I wanted to catch it when it rained again, and you know, you know, I didn't see that whole runoff situation like I did the previous time, where you just saw a lot of the silt just coming out, so. So I think, it's just, still have to have a conversation to see, what are they, how they're gonna be addressing this.
Okay.
'Cause, the construction's still ongoing, so, definitely need to, look into this a little bit more.
All right. Well, thanks, Louis.
Yep, thank you.
8 Bogostyle Brook, guys gotten a little confrontational over doing a site visit. So, yeah, he's getting a little feisty. Anna, are you familiar with this situation?
Not particularly.
So we're gonna look to schedule a site visit, so I thought I'd give you some context, right? So we had a resident leave a message, anonymous message at the Concom about a guy who was doing some yard work next to conservation property. So we went into a quick spin by from the street, and compared to the GIS, and it looks like he was moving quite a bit of earth with a pretty good size bulldozer, mid-sized bulldozer. And potentially not only in buffer zones, but maybe in wetland resources themselves. So, we had a couple email and had a couple phone conversations, but he had asked, my recommendation was that we have an expert go out. His contention is that he shouldn't have to permit work he's doing in his yard regardless, so, yeah. But at any rate, he was looking for me to outline what we'd be looking to accomplish with a site visit. So, I don't know if you can help me with some kind of talking points. I can take a swing at it and send it to you. And then we'd be likely looking to schedule something to have you get out there. The idea, as I said to him, I said, we just want to see where you did the work and if it impacted the buffer zones of the wetlands, so.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, and definitely important for someone to go out there and see what's going on too.
Yeah.
So.
So I'll.
Yeah, I just saw your initial email about that. It looks like you outlined a majority of the information that he needed.
Yeah. So I had about a half-hour conversation with him today. He's really arguing heavily to just try and make this go away, but at any rate, so we'll get that done.
If he cooperates a little bit,
That's what I tried to explain.
we can probably go out there and solve the issue.
Figure this out.
Instead
That's
of
right.
getting in my face.
No cost to you. We're gonna have somebody go out there, take a look at it. Just, he wants nothing to do with it. Delcart, I think, Tyler, this was a conversation around the trash, right?
Yeah, just with, I think also, trash, just kind of updating everybody on there and seeing how water and wetlands is also continuing their treatments. I think Louis had asked about putting up like a notice or something, letting people know, and I happened to notice when I was there a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's right.
Put up notices on that, but I think, we had wanted to talk about the trash issue, seeing it around there since there's no longer trash bins for people to dump waste or dispose of that waste. So.
Are we ultimately responsible for picking up the trash? Conservation?
We're not, but we kind of like to be able to prevent people from leaving.
We certainly would,
Yeah. Because I don't think there's a sign out there, right? Isn't that what we talked about?
Do we have cans?
Cans of what?
They've been removed.
Trash cans.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's a pack-in, pack-out facility now is the challenge, right?
Yeah, in fact, the town just made an announcement,
They did,
town-wide, everybody needs to carry out what they carry in any public space.
Sports.
At the risk
sports
of having
events
it
and everything.
closed.
So we're not, any trash cans
They've been
Right,
back.
there's
Yeah.
no funds for that anymore,
Right.
including our stuff.
Couldn't go on fixing that bridge.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the
I
trash.
know, but no funds for,
Oh, right. Yeah, that might have to be a conservation.
Yeah,
Funded
wetlands.
line.
But, I don't think there's a sign out there that says pack in, pack out.
I drove by the other day and I didn't see any signs.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's something you can,
We could probably do that.
right? Yeah.
Can you buy something like that?
Well, I would think if the town took barrels away from everywhere, then they're gonna make signs, could they spare one for us?
Maybe, maybe, actually, it's a good point, Rod. Maybe the move forward is, let's see if DPW plans to put up any signage. That's a good takeaway.
Because I mean, all of sports fields are gonna
Right.
take a beat.
They're gonna be, that's gonna be tough.
Where, oh, it could be like, is it Boston where the garbage people are on strike?
Yeah, I think it's Brooklyn side, yeah,
So-
5 weeks now, so.
So after the football game, there's no place to put anything. People are just drop it on there and everybody's gonna go, well, there you are. Garbage all over the place.
All right.
Tyler, what about Friends of Franklin? Maybe organizing, are there any participants in it? Maybe we can organize.
Oh, we get the booster club
cleanups?
going.
Or maybe we can encourage like the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts to do.
Look into it. I know the commission does sometimes like a spring Earth Day cleanup and then a fall Earth Day cleanup.
But since now we don't have trash cans, we kind of, maybe they can step up and do more cleanups.
I can note that down and see what you all reach out to and see if anyone's looking for
Community service opportunities.
Yeah.
Maybe the environmental club at the high school.
Get the Boy Scouts. Explore.
So I'll email DPW on the signage, and Tyler, you want to see if there's any interested in community service for helping? That could be, that could be the whole, the trails, right? That's not a bad idea.
All the town forests, we got them all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
actually, it's not a bad idea.
Some of that's down in East Overshoe too, so if
Right.
if you go down to pick it up, it's a long hike out.
That's, all right, so we'll investigate that. Okay, good. Solitude Management continues to, they just did their most recent treatment for Spruce Pond. So just FYI on that. I can't remember what we were talking about on 44 High Ridge, Tyler.
It seemed like DPW, I think Tony Brunetta had been notified by the resident, it seemed like a tree came down that might have originated conservation lands. Just catching up on that today on the notices. I think he's going to prepare some information on a quote, like a tree came
That's
down
right,
something.
yeah, that's what he was, he's getting, yeah,
Right.
yep, okay.
So I guess we'll just wait to hear from Tony on that one, but.
That's this one we did agree, oh no, we haven't agreed to that one. We're gonna get a quote and then look at it again as to whether we want to approve tree removal with wetlands funds, so, okay. Anna, we had a couple site visits, but besides 7 Briarwood, you want to go
Yep.
through that for us?
Sure, so we can start with 30 South Street. So that project is, or the proposed project is the homeowner wants to install a screened-in porch directly adjacent to the southern side of her home. So this is the house. She said it's going to start right around this corner of the house, extend out a little bit, and just go, I think it was 90 square feet, 12 feet long. So it is within riverfront area, but it's about 170 feet from the perennial stream that's within the woodland over here. And then this area that's down gradient from the house is a wetland. It has, all the characteristics of a wetland. But it's about 60 feet from the wetland line. And like you can see, it's in a grass area. There's like a small walkway. They did say it's going to be a raised porch with minimal earth disturbance work. So we just said, this project could be filed as an NBZA because it qualifies with all the necessary qualifications, and erosion control should be installed down gradient of the limit of work.
So a porch likely in the 50 to 100 with in
Yep.
pre-disturbed, okay, yeah, that's,
Mhm.
okay,
And then within the outer riverfront area, so.
yep,
about 100, yeah, so.
All right, so we'll have them submit a MBZA for that. All right, thank you, Anna.
No problem.
For that?
And then we have 8 Squibnocket Road. So this one, this is just removal of trees within a yard. The applicant's wife was home at the time and he wasn't, so she didn't necessarily know exactly which trees they were referring to, so it's a little confusing, but DEP does have this area mapped as a wetland and it is not a wetland. You know, I looked around in the soil, the vegetation is not hydrophytic. There is a wetland near this culvert at the back of the property, which is, they sent it in a plan, I forget what year it was from, but it's pretty accurate to, the wetland line is pretty accurate to what's shown on the plan. So I think one of the trees is potentially this one, so that was why I said, I think it's within the zero.
I'm the owner.
All right.
Oh,
Look at that.
well, we have an
I
expert.
never should have let my wife say we're gonna clear cut everything. That's not the intent.
You're on record, by the way.
I know, sorry about that. Like, that's the worst tree, right there. That's the closest to the culvert that's within a 25-foot buffer zone. So that's what I was worried about, cutting that. It's been like that for about a year. So I want
Looks
to get rid
dead.
of that before
Is
it
it
just
dead?
falls. Excuse me?
It looks dead.
It's dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything I want to
that's the
cut
one.
is either dead or dying.
So Anna, is that for sure in the 25?
That's in the
It's hard
25.
to say. I mean, the wetland starts generally around the culvert, potentially a little bit further this way. You know, if it's, yeah, it's up to you guys.
I
but-
think that's in the 25.
Okay.
I'll agree to that.
Well,
That's why I wanted to at least get permission to cut it down
Right,
before it just
right.
falls down.
Right.
And then there's several
Is it just
trees
that
on
one
the
tree?
front of the house in like the 75 to 100. At least one of them's even outside of the 100, the way I look at it, that
Yeah.
are also dead and need to be cut. Before they rip down, for whatever reason, Verizon brought its line right through that grove.
Oh, jeez.
Um,
So Anna, you get a recommendation on that one in the 25, you know?
I don't see any reason to keep, I mean, it's dead.
No, I don't see that, it's just how it gets permitted.
Oh,
Procedurally
permitted.
is the problem, because technically
Yeah, well,
we're
that's
not
true.
supposed to use MBZA's for stuff in the 25-foot.
It's just a different process if it's a notice of intent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could do an RDA for it. It's a little bit less of a,
But how would the
Project.
RDA, I mean, the RDA, wouldn't that just end up determining that it is in the 25-foot?
yeah, I guess,
How
yeah.
close is
So,
it
I
to your
mean,
house, sir?
Excuse me?
How
Yeah.
close is that one to your house, roughly?
The tree?
Yeah,
You know, 20 feet?
so it's kind of dangerous, right? I mean.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think removal is the issue, it's just how, the
the
process
process.
for which it gets permitted, right? You know, so I guess what I would say, Anna, is, I mean, do we just do an NOI on all of them, right? Because we don't have to do 2 separate filings, right?
yeah, I mean, the NOI is definitely the safest route to go.
Is it a
For
harder
the permitting.
threshold for me to get over, though?
No, the threshold's the same, it's just a little bit more paperwork, and I think it's a little bit pricier, if I recall correctly. How much more elaborate is it, Anna, for a?
Yeah, I mean, there's more filing requirements. You have to file with the state too.
Oh,
Yeah.
how about I leave that tree
Yeah.
until it falls?
Could it fall on your house?
Yeah.
Depends
Yeah,
on
it says-
which way the
I
wind's
mean,
gonna
it's
blow,
tall
yeah.
enough to hit your house if it fell that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna destroy the house.
It ain't gonna do it any good,
It's not gonna do anything good.
especially if you're standing out there.
Yeah. Everything else is much, much further away.
Yeah, again, I don't see us having any issue. I mean, we can even.
Are we sure it's in the 25?
No,
But if an arborist came and declared that, you know, a danger, do we still have to go through all those same?
So it needs to be permitted, right? We could give them emergency authorization to remove the trees, but you still need to do the permitting
After the
downstream. That's the challenge we're looking to get. There's no way around that. I get your, I mean, I'm kind of commiserating too, but, I mean, yeah.
Trying to figure it out.
If it's outside of that, I'll go measure it. If it's further than 25 feet, does that mean we can go through the MBZA?
It has, yes, yep.
I can measure it if you trust my measurements, and if Anna wants, or somebody wants to come and supervise or oversight. Just not
Anna,
my
you got
wife.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if it is, you know, outside the 25, then it can be an MBCA.
Right.
So, I mean,
I can go out when he wants to measure, confirm and not confirm.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that work with you?
Yeah, that's fine. I will say that when I put my addition on the back of the house, I spent with somebody from the board probably an hour discussing whether the wetlands start on this side of the culvert, the head wall, or the 12 inches where the cement is on the other side. And we argued that it should be one or the other. Took it out.
I'm actually thinking that through. I leave for vacation tomorrow. So in case my wife is watching, I don't want to commit to that.
Yeah. You're in deep.
And I have one other question about some of the recommendations that I saw that Anna made, that I can't grind the stumps.
So typically, we prefer to leave stumps in place, but, you know, given the location, that's a point of discussion, right?
Yeah, I
Are
don't
you
mind.
trying to turn
I don't
it
mind the
into
ones
your
in the
yard?
back. The ones in the back, I don't mind leaving.
Yeah.
The ones that are in the front, kind of like an eyesore, I'm trying to create some curb appeal into the neighborhood anyways.
So, I mean, personally, I don't have any issues with removing the stumps in front.
Oh, if they're in their lawn,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
let them.
that's what I think. Okay, so if you can leave the ones in back, stumps in place, and,
Like that tree that we're talking about in the back on the 20, I'm gonna leave that because that's holding up the swale that was
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
from that culvert that brings all the water to the front head wall.
Yeah.
I mean, Anna, do you feel it's possible to get a more exact look at whether that's actually in the 25?
yeah, I mean, the plan that was submitted that had a wetland delineation on it appeared to be accurate. So if, you know, you can base it off of that, if that's still
Do we have that,
possible.
Tyler?
What does that say?
I think I might have sent maybe an email to you guys. I'm not certain if I have it.
What the,
I think
Sorry, the one I have on this packet is,
I have it right here.
this
Okay.
one, proposed addition? That one, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the delineated area.
You see where they made me cut my foundation? That's what we argued about.
So the tree's somewhere, you know, in this area.
Yeah, probably closer to the back portion of the house.
Yeah, so it's
Right
very
where your-
close
right
to
where
the
your cursor
25
is
foot.
now.
Yeah, so it might just be right on the line.
Right on the line.
Close enough.
I'd like to avoid filing with the state if possible.
Yeah, it means a lot for a tree removal.
It's right on the line.
Yeah, it's right on the line. No instant replay here.
I mean,
I would say that would be good. Well, that's just me.
if we all feel comfortable it's outside the 25.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so why don't you file a MBZA, okay?
All right, so no need for another site visit by you guys?
No, because
Unless Anna wants to comment.
We already decided it.
Roger's
I'm out.
You know, and I will say this,
You know what, Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll swing by and take a look.
Just let me know,
Yeah, yeah,
because I don't want my wife out there.
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Is there a process, because I think the wetlands were delineated before that lot was ever even developed. Is there a process that I can go through to sort of have them reflagged and?
You could hire an engineer and have them probably go out and.
Well, I hired United Consultants to do this. I thought I hired United Consultants to do this when I did the addition back in 2006.
Did they give you a plan with it on it?
That's where I got this, but he didn't give me wetland delineation. So I gotta get that.
Wetlands can move as well.
Because honestly,
They're usually good for
the
like
water
4 or
that
5
comes into
years.
the back part of that property is all runoff from Summer Street.
Yeah, where's that culvert coming from? Is that a drain culvert from the street?
Yeah. That all
Comes
goes to the
through your
storm.
property and
It goes from the street all the way down the property line to the back. There's a manhole in the back, there's a manhole at the front, and then it goes to the culvert. It goes to the head wall.
And your property ends at the culvert, or no?
Pretty much. It's exactly how it appears on this.
Okay. Well.
But the water, the amount of water that comes into that backyard is frightening sometimes. But it works super well. It all hits that back head wall and all goes to the storm drain system. From what the DPW tells me, it goes to the town forest. It goes way out of the neighborhood. Except when the leaves back it up. And then the leaves back it up and the whole place floods. And if I don't go out, and if I go out and clear the leaves, 20 minutes later, everything's dry. That stormwater drain system with the head walls works great, unless it gets clogged.
Well, yeah, well, there you go.
And you said that the DEP data isn't accurate is the problem, right, Anna?
Yeah, I mean, the entire yard is, upland grass species and various trees that, I think there's a few red maples, but there's some oaks that don't typically grow in wetlands. And, I mean, it doesn't look like, it could have potentially been filled at some point, but,
So-
it's definitely not a wetland anymore. And the soil is
not.
very light brown, too, throughout the area.
He did several soil samples.
So we, even if we were trying to figure out where the 25 started, we'd be guessing because this isn't accurately delineated, right?
At this point it is. It wasn't when I bought the place.
Is that accurate, Anna?
The DEP layer is incorrect, but I believe this
Oh,
is
United
correct.
is, oh, I got you.
Exactly, yeah, the one from the addition.
But we'd even be guessing there as to where, the tree's not on the plan, so we'd be guessing anyway, right? We'd be guessing,
Yeah.
trying to transpose a eyeball of the tree onto that plan, right? Is the only way to,
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's pretty close to the side of the house right here,
Yeah.
so it's somewhere in this general area. Which isn't a lot of help, so.
Yeah.
I'd say it was a safety emergency.
I guess my ultimate goal is to reflag, I'll get that all reflagged. Because I want to be able to, when I go to sell it, not have everybody nitpick me about this being in a wetland.
You wanna
So-
sell it?
If you look at the whole house is in a buffer zone.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, somebody once said to me, you can't even cut your lawn without coming to ask for permission to.
Well, the good thing is that's a minor disturbance, but I get your point.
Now, you don't want me every week.
Yeah. So why don't you progress with the MBZA process, right?
All right.
And maybe I'll we won't hold that up, but I wouldn't mind just getting an eyeball on it. And we
If you
have
wanna
this.
come- You want to come by?
Yeah, we'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, shoot me an email, I'm usually pretty available.
And Tyler, we have this?
Yes, I could make sure it's also available.
Okay.
If
All right.
it's not already.
Okay.
All right.
That's a
appreciate
good plan. Thanks for coming in and talking it through. It's just one of those weird deals that we just want to make sure we do it right, that's all.
it. Yeah, I didn't want to be like that other guy giving you a hard time.
No, I appreciate that. We try to be collaborative with people.
Go ahead.
Want to make it
Give us a
work.
hard time.
Yeah. All right.
I need
thanks.
trees cut.
So, thanks for explaining it. It was helpful to have you here.
Right. And the other thing is that a lot of those trees, there are gonna be other trees, probably in the next 5 to 10 years, that are gonna die.
Yeah.
You can just see it. They're still pretty good now, but they're gone. They're not gonna last long. All right,
Well, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming by.
All right. Anna, thanks for your help with that.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I think I'm gonna sign off if I'm all.
Yeah,
all
I
set
think
with
you're
everything.
good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, have a good night, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Anna.
All right, Jennifer. You want to come up to the seat of honor? What'd you think?
You sure you want to sign on for something like
No,
this?
I learned a lot.
You can sit if you want, but you're welcome to stand. I didn't mean to make you stand, but you're welcome to.
Yeah, like, I learned a lot, and I think what I learned addresses the 3 points of why I'm looking to volunteer is concern, conservation, and communication. So I have a concern for a lot of the building that's going on, and what do we do for all the building? Keep up with the conservation, keep up with what you're doing. Don't be easy to work with, and stay true to your values and stand your ground, and people just have to wait, you know? Just stand your ground, wait, do what's right for longevity. And then communication, I feel like there's a huge lack of communication with what you guys do, why you do it, why we're here, why you need to do the permitting and the regulations and the permission. I'm sensing a big communication gap with the citizens of this town and what you guys do and why it needs to be done. And how we can have more civic engagement with the Conservation Commission. Like the whole garbage thing, like that was new to me. I think I saw it in the Gazette, the Franklin Gazette newspaper, and I'm like, this is huge.
Yeah.
Like, what's the population of our town now?
Yeah.
40,000?
Like 35. yeah.
35, 40? And to have like no garbage bins in all of the parks, like we want parks, that's why we're here. We want parks. But now, and I get the philosophy of you own it, you're bringing it in, you own it, be responsible. Well, that's psychology. It's so hard to change human behavior, you know? So I'm very concerned about that. So there's the C, there's the communication. I loved your ideas of the civic engagement of how we can help people help. And signage is huge. It's gonna be huge. I mean, I would volunteer to help put signs up on all the parks that now don't have those barrels. So those 3 C's is how I would like to contribute to the Conservation Commission. I would just, if you could just quickly, you know, go around the room and say, what do you want this volunteer to do for the commission? What are you looking for this person to do? Just very quickly.
Well, I'm looking for somebody to be able to just put in the work. I don't know about everyone else, but, you know, even at home, you have to do a lot of research, you know, looking at the different backgrounds of the different projects. So that's very important, and to be impartial. You know, sometimes there's a lot of things that, you know, that I put more value on, but I have to be more logical about the project, and, you know, because you have to work with the community, and so that's a huge thing. Is
The
to be in-
balance.
Yes, the balance is very.
I think the balance and perspective. But then keeping in the back of your mind, this is legacy work. You know, it's legacy work, and it's, you know, for the future too. And long-term goals, this country is so very short-sighted. that we can't focus on the long-term goals. We want things now, immediate. Our attention span is so short. So it's just, again, it goes back to that human behavior and psychology of changing, which is hard. But my passion is long-term vision. So, okay, so that's good. Roger, you're...
I guess I would say that there is a lot of research that we all do, I think. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of, I know myself, I'll drive around and look at different sites from the road, but still get an idea where it is, what do I see from there. And, you know, I try to measure that what's best for the town in the long term, not just what's best for this project or this person, what works best for the town, and try to measure up the, you know, the pluses and the minuses, and what comes out on top.
Absolutely. Michael?
Hi, thank you for coming in. So I would say, like you, I'm very concerned about the long-term and conservation is a big part of how I feel. But I would just temper that with, you know, we only have so much power, you know. There's rules, lots of rules that we have to follow. So it's important not to overstep, I guess. So I would just caution you there. But if you come on, I'll certainly be with you in terms of trying to.
Well, rules control chaos,
Yeah.
I feel. So they're there for the reason, and there probably should be more and stronger rules. But okay, Mark.
I would say good open-mindedness, willingness to learn. I mean, I would say this ended up being vastly different than what I thought it would be coming into it. Not in a bad way, and I didn't have a great idea as what it would be anyway, but there's a lot of arcane components to any part of the government, and to get a grip on that, I find very interesting, right? It's one of the parts I like about playing a role and helping to keep Franklin moving forward, right? So I think those are really key attributes. You don't know what you don't know yet, but that's okay, right? None of us did getting into this. I think a good passion for the town. I think most of us are here because we really like living in Franklin. Want to help continue to make it a really good place to live. So really caring about it. And then I also think for as long as I've been here, we've had a great team camaraderie. I mean, for me personally, that's really important. We don't always agree on things. We talk them through. I think it's great. We've probably got a wider perspective on the commission now than we've had since most of the time I've been here, and that's got great value.
Well, that's kind of what Jamie was wanting from this next candidate. I think Jamie is really looking for a different perspective to add to the mix, to have a more robust discussion on the projects, and I think he wants different perspectives to make people think in different ways, because there's 35,000 of us, right? So, and I think through discussion, it's a discovery as well, and you need to see the different viewpoints, and then how do you meld and blend those viewpoints together for, you know, to agree for what's best for the town, not that homeowner or not that developer, but the larger, the 30,000-foot view, long-term perspective for the town.
Yep.
So that's kind of what Jamie was expressing and wanting from this next volunteer.
Well, I think that's good input.
Yeah. Richard?
Well, I think it's three things. It's a lot about what Roger said. We have a lot of regulations. We have the town's welfare, what's good for the town. We also have the individual or individuals who are applying for whatever permit that we're talking about. And all of those have to be weighed together, because nothing's ever clear and concise. We have to make compromises, or we have to make, and there's avenues and ways we can do that.
Yeah.
And we have to think about them and come up with the best solution to it. It's not just, well, the rule says this and that's it, by God. No, it's not like that. We have a lot of things weighing on it, and you have to weigh them all together and see where it comes. And we're pretty good at it. Like I said, we don't always agree on it, but
But
we're
it's a
pretty good at it.
it's a democratic process, you know, so, that's great.
You know, I think it'd be interesting to hear more on your thoughts, could be tonight, could be any time, on community outreach. You know, we not, I wouldn't say
Yeah,
probably
I agree, I
super
agree.
recently, but boy, we have spent some significant time on that over the last couple of years. You know, for a while, we were doing a booth at the farmer's market. We haven't done it this year. You know,
I was gonna actually ask you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, and it's,
Oh, throw me to the wolves, I'll do it.
well, and hey, like anything, right, it's time, and a lot of it could be mundane. I mean, I think you and I split duty a lot of days in those, and, you know, you don't get a lot of people, but you do have to do outreach. We you know, we've done some events at Delcart. So there's always opportunity there. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with the conservation director that works for the town, Bricolai Goodlander.
I've listened to her speak, and I'm
Okay.
familiar with her name, so not personally, but through reputation.
Right, so
you know.
she's a town employee that works with her. She's a wetland scientist. She's out of maternity leave right now. Or she'd be here. She had a baby daughter a few weeks ago, doing super well. She's a big proponent of outreach, and she's done some other things, some programs to work with residents on doing different things with their yards. So there's, you know, there's never enough, quite honestly, because I agree with you. I don't think people have, you know, most, we, what was it, 2 years ago, we did the open space project, right? And we were talking about, you know, residents would come in, give us input on open space. And, you know, just the lack of awareness on the conservation land that exists out there, which is on the website, but, you know, it's just stuff like that. And so we're always looking to do more and do better in that area, because it's a challenge, you know?
Yeah, I mean, considering the size of the town and the size of the homes being built and all the properties and the influx of population, I think communication is critical. So I come from a marketing, communications, public relations background, journalism and PR, so that's where I'd like to give my time for communication, but also just protection of the waterways and the wetlands and the buffer zones. And this gentleman you're talking about bulldozing his backyard, it's like, no, it's kind of really not your yard and land to do as you wish, you know. So just the education there, and, you know, to help with these permits and coming to these answers and coming to the conclusions. If you have another person to discuss it, maybe they'll come around faster and sooner. But I would just say dig your heels in when you know something is right, and you have to go through protocols and the channels to make the right decisions. Don't back down on that. Dig in, and you know it's for the best, and you know it's going to be the better answer in the long run. And my fear is, you know, you let Joe do it, well, Joe's going to tell Tom, Tom's going to tell Jeff, and, you know, wildfire through Franklin's going to happen. So don't set a precedent.
So what, tell us more about your background, your professional background.
So my professional background, as I had mentioned, I've been in marketing, communications, public relations for 30-plus years now. So I'm a graduate of the University of Rhode Island, in journalism and in PR. I've worked in Providence, I've worked in Boston, in Newport. Right now, I'm actually a preschool teacher at the Chi School. I'm in between jobs right now, but I do have a passion for education. So hence my education of the town of what, the work that you guys do and how it should be promoted and made awareness. So I love education. So yeah, right now I'm a preschool teacher. My husband and I, we've lived in Franklin for 25 years. I live up in the Stone Ridge condominium complex,
Yep.
right below the YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
So I do have concern for what's happening or too much building on,
Grove.
yeah, exactly.
Grove.
Grove kind of concerns me a little bit. And then all the work that's happening on Beaver concerns me. So the traffic patterns are getting a little bit gnarly around here. So I have concern, on Grove. But yeah, 25 years in Franklin. My daughter, she's at UVM and she's studying environmental studies and political science. So blending that environment and poli-sci government mix. So she was really happy that I was exploring this opportunity and it's motivation for her. So yeah.
Very cool.
And I do a lot of walking around town. I go on all the fields, the meadows, the parks. I do a lot of walking around town. So I see what's happening and what's not happening. So I'm passionate about the green space.
Yep.
And the open space here. Very passionate about that. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Any,
Louis?
Oh, yeah, Louis, do you have any
I'm
questions?
sorry, I didn't include.
Or
I'm
Louis,
sorry, I'm sorry.
why don't you tell us what you want in a commissioner, Louis?
Yeah.
You didn't get put on the Budweiser hot seat there, so we're gonna put you on now.
No, I didn't, but it's fine. No, I appreciate you coming in and, we appreciate the applicants coming in. I think I've been a little bit over a year now with the commission. So really it's just kind of just understanding our purpose, what really is, we're out to look for. You hit it on the nail, head on the nail. When you say the green space, and that's kind of what drove me into serving on the Conservation Commission is when I just had my daughter, my first daughter, one of the first areas I visited was Delicarte. And and I enjoyed going there even to this day. When I heard about the opportunity here, I said, this is a great opportunity to preserve, Delicarte, but also the areas that people enjoy. So I think that was kind of my drive to doing this and to serving. But also, I think the biggest attribute, or at least what has guided me, is just a thirst for knowledge. Really, you have to, there's a lot of material, but there is assistance, as far as like getting spun up on regulations and really, I think that's really helped me out. I come from an engineering background and civil, so the environmental portion of that was, it was familiar to me, but, this gave me an opportunity to really get more knowledgeable about that and the regulations. So really, I think it's just kind of that thirst for knowledge, but also finding that balance, because, done properly, we can have developments, but also enjoy the green spaces. So that's kind of where we're looking to have that, and I also look out for, how best it fits, not only to, the community, but overall the future of this town, so.
Well, yeah, the long-term vision is,
And
long-term
you had stated
thinking.
it, so-
It's hard. It's really hard to get people into the mindset of long-term vision and not short-term goals. Legacy, 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 so, and conserving and preserving, so. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know it's late, so I'll let you guys wrap up.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate
Yeah.
you coming in. We have one other candidate we're talking to at our next meeting in 2 weeks, and then we'll
Sure.
make a decision and let you know, but.
Good, yeah, September.
I know,
Yeah,
hard to believe,
perfect.
but Great conversation, and thank you for your interest. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, sure, you got it. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time.
All right.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
And I think that's it.
I'm gonna go back, next meeting, I'll give you a report on the bridge. I'm gonna go.
All right, that'd be good.
Look
That'd
at
be
that,
good.
and I think we need to make, are we responsible for all the parks? All
So-
the lines?
so-
Conservation Commission, we gotta fix the bridge, we gotta,
Certain open space in town we're responsible for. Some is under the rec department.
oh,
Yeah, but that bridge happens to be in conservation land, so
that's conservation land.
that's us.
Stars.
We get to draw it.
So,
Uh,
well,
but yeah,
I'll
but-
take another
Yeah, let's
down there.
just look at it.
Put on the water shoes and the mosquito repellent because
Yeah, I'll
the
bet.
mosquitoes down there take you away.
Is a concluding thought, I mean, if you have interest in manning the farmer's market, so and I've got it at my house, we've got a table,
Yep.
an awning. We had a box of materials.
I think I have some from the Del, oh no, somebody else took it, somebody else has it, from the Del Cart, event, so I don't have that.
I'll look at my, I don't think I have the box of material, but I will look in my garage with the rest of the gear. And we had a, like a table runner too.
Yeah, well, I think it would be really important because like, a lot of people don't understand, the responsibility of living adjacent to a wetland. We still have a lot of people who are dumping, I've witnessed it, dumping their leaves in the wetlands, their
Right.
grass clippings, everything. And I think that we need to draw up, like maybe some flyers or something, and just, say, do you live near a wetland? Here are the do's and the don'ts. And I think that we should take this opportunity to probably try to educate the adults as well as children, like, because the last time I did the farmer's market, it was, we had a lot of materials for kids, but I think we need to educate
That's a good
the
point, yeah.
adults. And, because it just, every time I keep seeing them dumping stuff, I'm like, oh my God, you're not supposed to do that. So, I think that we need to,
Roger, you probably know, do you know how we get in the farmer's market?
Yeah,
Or
you're
we can
supposed
talk to
I
you?
think we have to talk to the,
This guy?
He's going on vacation.
Technically, you're supposed to fill out a.
Only we know somebody.
But if we can settle on a date, I'm sure we could make accommodations.
But you're going on vacation.
Well,
what?
within the next 2 weeks, you want to do something? All right.
I'll do a little research on, the materials.
Find the materials and at our next meeting, we can confirm a date
Yeah.
and make it happen.
I know I've got, like I said, I've got the table, the awning, and the dolly that you wheel stuff around on.
yeah, I'm still recovering from my surgery, so I can't, I might need some help from, like, to carry things. I
Yeah.
can try to recruit.
Well, hopefully, it's not just you.
It might be in Bricolai's office. I
I
don't
mean,
know if you know that, Tyler. That
have to have
she
a
used to
little-
have a lot of stuff in her office.
She did, but then we borrowed it for the Del Cart, and she still wasn't here for that.
Uh-huh.
And then with the rehab of the whole building, I think a lot of stuff was cleared around.
And it was all, yeah.
Is her office open, or is that,
I can have a look after.
all right, if you don't mind, yeah. Yeah, so let's see, there was some good
Didn't
material.
get 86, did it?
Hope not. But I'll see what I got at the house. We'll look in Bricolai's office, take stock of what we got. If we have enough material,
When does it start? At 2 o'clock or so? When is it?
2 to 6.
2 to 6, so you can't get there.
Most people get, I mean, the vendors get there anywhere from 12 o'clock.
Yeah, well, they got it
Yeah.
bigger.
Okay.
And then I can write up, something for, like the do's and don'ts or
Yeah.
whatever.
You wanna take a shot, yeah.
I can just send it to you.
That'd be cool.
To you, and maybe everybody can add something.
Yeah, let's route it around, right? We can make it, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Um,
Yeah, I'll try to get something together.
I think this would be a good opportunity to kind of announce that, as far as like the picking up after yourselves and,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
just,
Well, that's a good
you know,
point.
so, just kind of, you gotta make a sign, pick up, you take in, take out.
Got to pick up yourself. You didn't vote for the extensions.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Amounts to.
Yep. All right, so with that, so want to give us a motion to adjourn?
I'll give you a motion to adjourn this meeting.
All right, all in favor?
Second.
Aye. All right, we're adjourned.
See everyone.
If I wanted to take a course, we pay for it,
Oh.
right?
I mean,